So we're just going to walk around Aweber. And Aweber is a service for managing email and email follow-ups. So I'm just going to show you how to create an email when you log in and how to format it. So when you log into it, after you log in, you'll actually be on the dashboard. Let me just open that up on our home. You'll be on the user control panel. And it'll look a little bit like this. So you'll notice here, there's a drop down. These are the current lists. So these are the different mailing lists that's set up in this account. This happens to be my account. So these are the different mailing lists that are set up in the account. And you'll notice that you can click on any list, and whenever you click on one, that's the list you're then using these tabs for, right? So there's the home, which gives you just the overview of this particular list. There's your messages, subscribers, sign-up forms, reports, and list options. Most of the time you won't use these three unless you're setting up a brand new list. If you're setting up a new list, you would click on Create and Manage Lists, and you would follow the steps on the screen, and it would basically be these different list settings. You would basically set all this up. You would just click this, you would follow the prompts on screen, and that would create a new list. Once you have a new list, then you would create a sign-up form for the list, and you put that sign-up form on a website, for instance. But in this case, we're just going to focus on the existing lists and how to create a message. So when you create a message, there's two types. There's a follow-up message and there's a broadcast message. I don't really know what the blog broadcasts are. I've never really ever done that. Don't know what it is, don't know why you need it. But these are the two you'd use, follow-up series or broadcasts. So a follow-up series is creating a series of emails that follow up with people, the autoresponder emails. So when someone opts in to a form on a website, for instance, and they get an automated message following up with them, this is where you would schedule the automated messages. And so, as you'll see here, there are actually quite a lot in this sequence. I have probably about 50 or so. Yes, more than that. I have 66. This is the one I'm working on right now. So, 66 emails in this follow-up sequence. So that means, and this happens to be with my techdivamedia.com website. When someone opts in here, they start getting this series of emails. And these are just informative emails giving people tech tips, right? And notice that these are scheduled. This one gets sent immediately. This one's sent the next day after the previous message. This one's sent 3 days later, sent 2 days later, sent 3 days later, sent 3 days later, right? So you can see, you can schedule these however far apart you want. And you can also see the statistics. So 60% open this, 57, 45, 47, 52, 40, 42, 43, 38, 48, right? You get a sense of how many people are opening. And so when you create a follow-up message, you're creating a message that's going to go in this series. Now, you can click and drag these around if you wanted to reorder them, but most of the time you'd be creating a follow-up to go at the very end of the series. And once they've, like initially, when someone signs up, not always, you don't usually have a series that's quite this long. It just depends. But initially, I set the emails to go, like, say, a day apart and then 3 days apart or 2 days apart, kind of closer together. But then as we get on down, then I have them set, like, some of them are 5, 6, 4 days apart. As we get on down towards the end of the list, though, I space them out more like 8 days apart or 6 days or 5 days so that it's not just all the time, because that just gets to be too many emails. But anyway, so that's a follow-up email. The other one is a broadcast. The broadcast is going to look the same, but what that is, a broadcast just blasts all the people on the list no matter when they signed up. See, it looks the same. No matter when they signed up to the list, no matter where they are in that follow-up sequence, they get the email. So in the follow-up sequence, you might create a follow-up and it would be added to the end of the sequence. If somebody signed up today, they wouldn't get that email until they've gotten all these other emails, right? So it might be like 2 or 3 months later they would get it because they have to go through all these emails first. That's the follow-up sequence. The broadcast sequence is, if someone signed up today, they would get the email you're broadcasting today, right? They don't have to get all the sequence first. So they're two different types of messages. And the broadcast messages are good if you have an announcement to make. If you want to make sure people know about an event or something like that, the broadcast is great. A special promotion that's time limited. Now, follow-up is better if you're building a relationship with people and you're just giving them value, you're staying in touch with them, you're building credibility, you're getting them to learn to, trust you as someone that they want to get emails from, that's a follow-up. So they're both very important for marketing, but they have two different intentions. So the broadcast, you set it up and they're both the same thing, but you schedule this one then to go out at a certain time of day and a certain date. Or you could just have, send now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a follow-up message. Now when you click on create a follow-up, it's going to open up your editor like this. Here's where you're going to type in the subject of the email, which is very important because that's what people decide whether they're going to click on it or not. And then you type in the text. This is just by default. This text is in here. You would just delete it. Usually you would just delete this. You can leave the hi and then first name fixed. This is code that will automatically inject their first name, which they would have entered when they opted in with like their name and email to sign up to the list. It's going to take that first name that they entered in that form and it's going to put it here. So you'd start typing after that. You just start typing like any other type of document. You can select it, you can change your font. Most of the time I recommend just keeping it the default font because so many different email services read emails differently. Just keep it the default. The size, I always put it to about 14 because it's a little bit small by default, so I just put it at 14 and that makes it nice and easier to read. So I usually always select it when I'm done. I do a select all and then I just set it to 14. And so if you want to add images, you would click off of it and you'd go here and select image and you click and you just drag it into this block. Let's see, and it's a little bit clumsy. There we go. So here now I can enter an image. So you have to click on upload an image and then you could select an image from your computer or they have an image gallery, but most likely you'd be uploading image. Now normally the only time I would upload an image is if like say I want to have a thumbnail image for a video, for instance. Say I'm going to give them a link to a video in an email. Then I would upload like a JPEG image here and then when I click on the image that would take them to say a page on my website where the video lives, where they could then click to watch the video, right? So you're just putting images like that. Most of the time you probably won't even have an image, but if you do have an image, you would upload it here and then you would paste in where you want the image to go, and that would be in the image link. So the image link would be where you want it to go. So in this case, if I wanted it to go to this page, for instance, I would copy the URL here and I would paste that into the image link here, right? And so then whatever image I upload here is going to go to this page. Does that make sense? If you don't want that for some reason, you just delete it. Pretty cut and dry. If you want, say you have an image here and then you want to have text below it to like in the email, then you have to go and drag another paragraph box. So you then start typing in here. And then you'd have to select this. This is where it's a little clunky, but then you'd have to select this text and make it size 14 font, right? And then you can click off of it. Now you can kind of see how your email looks. It's a little clumsy. It's not like super fancy, and it's, because you got to drag these text things around, but you can move them like this and kind of put it where you want. But that gives you a sense of how to set it up. Then when you're done, you can save the draft for someone to review later. You can click on test and send a test email so that like if you wanted to, say, send an email to yourself to just see what it looks like, you can do that. And then you can just click save and then next. Now when you click on, so I'll do that now, I'm just going to delete that. It's going to make me enter a subject. I'll just do that for now. When I save it and then I click next, then it's going to take me to this screen where I'm going to schedule when it goes out. So I might say here like 8 days after the previous message, and I just hit save and exit. And when you do that, then it's going to go into the follow-up message thing, and I'm just going to delete it very quickly because I don't want it to actually go out. Delete. Let's make sure that that deleted, and I think we'll be okay once it deletes. Yes, we want to delete it. So now it's deleted, right? So that's how you would create a follow-up message. The broadcast messages are exact same thing. You just would be scheduling on a calendar the date when you want it to be sent out whenever you're done. Okay, hope that helped.